In the last lesson, we introduced how Ottoman supports the two fundamental approaches to expressing relationships within your model, referencing and embedding. Let's take it further. So when you're working with JSON documents, your entity relationships can be expressed various ways, including embedding, where, for example, I might have an order document that contains one or more related product documents within a nested array. Alternately, that order could contain simply the full or partial ID of related product documents with variable information for that order, such as quantity. Ottoman lets you express either referenced or embedded relationships as well. For example, here in our course, we're taking a look at customers and countries. Ottoman can express the relationship by fully embedding a country document within a customer document. Alternately, the customer document could simply reference an external country document or, of course, another type of document as well. And you'll see that the type and the ID value of that document are embedded within the parent document as a reference. We'll be taking a look at how to make this happen in just a moment. If you'd like to learn more about these data modeling concepts, they're discussed in much greater detail with examples and guidance in our online course, Intro to Data Modeling in JSON. So let's begin with creating a document from a model. As you might expect, there is a create method. The create method expects to receive JSON corresponding to a model. It will then cause that new object to be created within your app. It'll push the document to the server to create the new document in Couchbase, and then it's going to return that document in the callback, as we see here. If the JSON fields that you pass fail to match the model, there will be an error. Here, you are enforcing a schema. So for example, if my customer model had a billing address defined with these 5 attributes, country, state, city, line 1, and postal code, but then I attempted to create a document through that model that included an extraneous attribute like county, I would get back an error because it could not find that county field within the schema for this model. So Ottoman, among other things, provides you a straightforward mechanism for enforcing the schema within your application. How does a model reference a related model? We've seen already how one of the types that can be assigned to an attribute is another model. There's 2 basic ways this happens. The relationship with that other model could be a reference, or it could be embedded. And what we see here is the syntax for defining the relationship between this customer and a related country by way of a reference. The parent is configured to reference the child model. The child itself needs no special configuration to be referenceable. However, we do want to keep our eye on the ID value for that related model because we're going to need it as we assemble the document relationships themselves. So once you've defined the relationship between a parent model and a child model to be a reference, how do you go about actually creating the reference as you create a document? Let's take a look. Presumably this happens in a post operation because you're creating, in this case, a new customer. Customer is the parent document. So the request body has a JSON document within it containing information for that customer. But we want to reference a related country document. So the JSON that's posted in this example has a very easy way to get that reference. It has the country code itself contained within it. Now on the right, notice that we have a country.ref method. Each model exposes a ref method, and what that ref method does is that if it is passed the ID value from a related model, it creates a reference to it based on the type and the ID. So in the pattern we're describing here, we would rewrite that reference into the country code property of the document passed from the client, and then we pass that along to the create method of the parent document to create the parent. What it would look like under the hood is on the left, we see the JSON posted from the client. It has a country attribute which contains the country code for the document to be embedded. And so the ref method uses that to look up and create the reference that we see on the right that has the type and the ID value for the related document. By assigning that back into the country code of the JSON and then passing the resulting JSON to the create method, the document on the right is the customer document that ends up being created, expressing the parent-child relationship by reference. In the lab for this lesson, we'll have you verify the configuration of your models and then write the code necessary to create documents with referenced relationships to other documents. When you're done with this, come on back because, as we've previewed in this lesson, there's a different way to do it. You can also express relationships by document embedding. Along the way in that lesson, we're going to learn how to create custom indexed lookups. Come on back.